What is up, my awesome viewers? It is time to talk about my boy Yadak, the Desecrated. So this is my sort of favorite overall, just kind of the culmination of things I learned in Magic, in my Magic playing career, if you might say. And out of the different types of like play style, this is by far one of my favorites. And it's a very simple effect. It's basically Panharmonicon on a body, Death Touch, Lifelink, and of course we have to cover the basic necessity, card draw. And these are just the standard cards to draw into, gives you draw power, and there is other card draw as well, but they kind of like double up as ramp, like this guy here and this guy here, and they kind of double up as ramp, so you could say this is the actual card draw itself, and then once we take out these guys here and then work on ramp, because of course that's the second thing besides card draw is ramp, so you definitely want a good ramp package. So yeah, besides that, card draw and ramp. Ramp is a second key component to making your deck run smoothly. So that's basically the basics aside. Then you gotta have, well, for me, I feel like searching is as important as card draw, so I definitely want to search. Make sure I get the key pieces. This deck isn't really combo centric, like there isn't a combo where I play it and I win, but it's more of like I control the situation and I answer big threats. And I also have big threats of my own. So talking about big threats, here we are, the big threat section, and the key highlight is definitely these two guys, because once these two hit the field, there is a very good chance I take the whole board. There's a very good chance that happen, and that's one of my win con. And the sad thing about this win con is that it encourages table flipping, which is something that I did not see coming, to be honest. I just thought that, okay, you know, besides this regular combat, there has to be other methods of winning. And then one of the other methods of winning just happened to involve around people scooping, which I honestly did not plan this ahead. I just thought that, oh, this is a great combination for me to kind of stay in the game. That was my original intention, is to just, if I fall behind a lot, these can help me kind of get back into the game, and then I can take enough lands or take enough creatures to like defend myself and things like that. But the way how the deck works, it actually ends up being a little bit overboard, and I end up just not just staying in the game, but just completely taking over the game, which is something that I did not have in mind. And for this one, it's just basically Yadak. Basically, like you have to pay for it, but you make a token, and then it itself triggers and enter the battlefield. And this is how I win by combat, is with Avenger of Zendikar. When things trigger multiple times, and I have my Saprolings become like 10/10s, and there's like a billion of them, that's when things really start to happen. So besides big threats, you gotta have single target removal, and there is oh, these are copy. And these are my single target removal package. And then again, like the way how the deck is being structured, like you and I both know that it's not a single target removal, it's multiple target removal, it's board removal sometime if played in a certain way. And of course the way how that works is that you have these guys. So Panharmonicon, I'm pretty sure you guys know what that is. So it helps ETBs go twice. And these two basically make sure that I always flicker each turn. Yes, and that's a key thing of why I'm saying for my single target removal, it's not actually single target removal, it's more of like board removal. So that's how that works there. And then these two are copies. So if there's a really big threat in the field, why not make it 2? Why not make it 3? So there you go. Got some copy going on. And then, of course, there's going to be board wipes. Let's be honest here. So because there's going to be board wipes, there's going to be recursion. Recursion is something that I learned a little bit later on in my Magic career that you actually need. It's a definite must because of the number of board wipes and single target removal there are. In my particular play group, I feel like recursion is absolutely necessary. And one of the recursion happens to be a really big threat. A couple of recursion happens to be a really big threat. So that I did not plan that when I made the deck to make a recursion become big threats, but it just happens to be like that. And of course, you gotta have wipes. Just in case if something really bad happened, you know, you fall behind in the game a lot, it's time to wipe the board so that you can catch up. So I don't have a lot of board wipes, but the board wipes that I do have are pretty handy, especially this one. This is like my favorite one because it goes back to the deck. It doesn't go to the graveyard. That's freaking awesome. And then besides board wipe, of course, another way to stay in the game is life gain. So life gain, I only have 4 ways, which is fine because 2 of the 4 ways are controllable. I can hit them multiple times. And one of the way that I gain life happens to be a really big threat because once this thing gets to enough number of times, it's game over. And then of course, the very last thing is you gotta have protection. Protection is something you need in case if you happen to be the big threat, because that happens to me on numerous occasions where I happen to be the big threat, so you gotta have protection. And in a sense, this is a protection, but I mean these two are more of like deterrent than protection, because like it kind of advises my opponent, hey, do you want your creature to die? Or hey, you don't have enough mana to attack me. So that's it. So those are the protection side, and yeah, I think I pretty much covers all of the bases of the deck. I love playing this deck. This is like by far my favorite deck. If not all of the game nights that I go into, I play this deck at least two times. Yeah, there hasn't been a game night where I remember that I don't play this deck. So, and then of course there's variations of it. Sometimes this is the commander, sometimes this is the commander. But when I tried using Modrota as a commander, it's not as fun as I would thought. There's a couple key things that I can change. If you guys want to find out, yeah, comment down below. I'll probably make another build off of this, so just show you guys how my train of thought works for Modrota. But I didn't like it as much, so I end up going back to Yadak, and it's really awesome because this particular commander, for me, does not revolve around him. So what I mean by that is that I have come to the point in the deck where I have enough things to function without it, that whenever this hits the field, I don't care if it dies, because it's just another Panharmonicon, and I have lots of ways to replicate Panharmonicon. So it doesn't really matter if this dies or exile. So if it lives, that's great. If it's not, it doesn't matter. And I think it's up to the point where like the group actually knows that, and they stop paying attention to this card, because it's like, why bother? He's just gonna do another thing that does the same thing as this anyway. So there's that too. So that's it for my 2 cents. If you like it, click subscribe, the bell, comment, like for more content. You guys stay awesome.